Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay, so today we are revisiting the rules of the road. Okay, revisiting the rules of the road, and it's going to be just one session. So a lot of people have asked me to just maybe cover rules of the road in one video. See, so we are going to try and just cover the rules of the road all in just one video, so that you just watch one video, not having to check part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, whatever. So we're just going to cover all of these rules in one video. So please make sure that you subscribe and you like the video. Okay, so I'm gonna start reading here. Okay. The rules of the road are set in place to regulate traffic and ensure safety. These rules are compulsory, and compliance with these road traffic laws greatly reduces the responsibility of accidents, injury, or deaths on the road. So it's straightforward. You need to comply with these road traffic laws. Okay. So let's go a bit down. We're starting on general rules. So now, before we start on general rules, you must know that the most important rule of the road in South Africa is that you keep left. So this is your road. It's divided like this. Okay. So if you're going there, you keep left. Going this side, you also keep left. You travel on the left here and you travel on the left there. So the reason why you keep left, it's just so to avoid collisions. You see, because if this vehicle, let's say vehicle A, if it's driving towards the left, it's keeping left and it's facing that direction, and vehicle B, it's facing that direction, traveling to that direction, and it's keeping left, there is no way the two vehicles would ever collide. Okay, so it's just to avoid collisions, no rocket science. Okay, then we start on general rules. All vehicles must be all vehicles must have a clearly visible and valid license disc. That disc is valid for 12 months from the date of issue. Straightforward. Then you have the safe following distance. Maintain a safe following distance as part of maintaining a clear space around your vehicle. So if you are following this vehicle, the law says you must keep the safe following distance. This is the vehicle, so there must be safe following distance. This is the following distance. You must just keep a significant space here, so that should the vehicle, let's say this is vehicle A and this is vehicle B, so that should vehicle A suddenly stops, you are able to also stop as vehicle B. You are able to just also stop without having to swerve. Swerving means to drive past the vehicle abruptly. Okay. Now, increase the distance when the visibility is poor. So when the visibility is poor, you have to increase the safe following distance in wet conditions, when traveling fast, when carrying a heavy load, and when traveling on a loose surface. You increase the safe following distance. And then you have the mirrors. Ensure that all mirrors are adjusted correctly so that you have a clear view. If you need to adjust the mirrors, you may only do this when the vehicle is stationary. Okay? Point number 2 says every 5 to 8 seconds glance in all the mirrors to check the situation behind or to the sides of the vehicle. Okay. You keep 5 to 8 seconds and then you check your mirrors after 5 to 8 seconds. Okay. And then when approaching a potential hazard, check in the mirrors in case you need to signal a change of direction or a change in direction. So this is your road. Let's say there's an excavation here. Here. You see, then that means this is a potential hazard. So there's a danger plate there, put there. Okay, you are traveling here. So before, when you are approaching a potential hazard. So what you then need to do, you check your mirrors in case you need to signal the change of direction because you're about to drive here to pass the potential hazard. Okay, so you check your mirrors. And then going down to the blind spot. Before changing direction, turn your head to the appropriate side to check in the areas that are not visible in the mirrors. And those areas which are not visible in the mirrors are referred to as blind spots. And then you have the maximum speed limits. So it is important to note that a road sign that indicated a different speed limit from the general speed limit guide below takes precedence. Okay, so the speed limit for roads in urban areas is 60 kilometers per hour. Roads in urban areas, that is the speed limit. Roads outside urban areas, 100. Freeways, 120. Goods vehicles with a mass exceeding 9,000 kilograms on roads outside urban areas, it's 80 kilometers per hour. And then a taxi carrying passengers exceeding 3,500 kilograms on the road. Okay, this one, not only on the road outside urban areas, but this is just the general speed limit for taxis and buses, that one. Okay, right, then let's move on. Now we're getting to this part, the rules with regards to driving on divided roads. When a painted marking or physical barrier divides a road, always stay on the left of the division. You are only allowed to cross this division if there is an opening or space allocated for this action. It is a rule violation to drive across a solid dividing marking. You may only drive across a broken dividing marking to overtake another vehicle. So there are your markings, right? And then the rules with regards to overtaking. Do not overtake if overtaking is prohibited by a road sign or marking. If overtaking is prohibited by a road sign or marking, do not overtake. Do not overtake a vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing. Straightforward. A vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing, you do not overtake. Excuse me, guys. When overtaking a vehicle on the same direction on a narrow road, pass right and keep a safe following distance. Basically, we could just say that you overtake on the right. Do not drive on the right-hand side of the road in the face of oncoming traffic. Okay, you do not drive oncoming traffic. You always drive in your lane, or if you want to overtake, you wait until it's clear on the other lane, then you can drive past the other vehicle. Do not drive on the shoulder or verge of the road when overtaking. We will see more rules on driving on the verge of the road. Do not overtake on a blind rise, curve, or any other area where your view of the road ahead is limited. Okay? Then let's come to overtaking on the left. If it is safe to do so, you may overtake on the left when these conditions apply. When the vehicle ahead of you is turning right or has indicated to turn right. When the road is a one-way. When there is wide enough space for 2 or more lanes for traffic moving in the same direction. And when you are instructed by a traffic officer, and do not cross the yellow left edge line when, in order to overtake, you do not cross the yellow left edge line. So let's say this is the road, okay, and there is the yellow left edge line there. Then your road is divided like this, obviously. Okay, so let's say maybe this vehicle traveling here has indicated to turn here, you are traveling here, this car is indicating to turn. So then by the the law allows you that you can overtake this side on the left. But when you are overtaking this side on the left, the law says you must not step on the yellow line. You must not step there. Okay? Straightforward. And then moving on, you have passing on oncoming traffic. You may not pass oncoming traffic. You may not pass right onto oncoming traffic. Yes. And then being overtaken. This is where I am now. When being overtaken, move over safely to the left and allow another vehicle to pass. Do not accelerate until the other vehicle has passed you. So when someone wants to overtake you, you do not accelerate. You just move over to the left and you allow that other vehicle to overtake you. And then being overtaken on a freeway. If the driver behind you indicates his desire to overtake by flashing the headlights, signal to move over if it is safe to do so, and do not hog the right lane even if you are traveling at the designated speed limit. So even if you are traveling at 120 kilometers per hour, as that is the speed limit for the freeway, but if the person behind you indicates his intention to overtake you or indicates his desire to overtake you, then you just have to signal to move over to the next lane and move. Don't say, but I'm traveling at 120 kilometers per hour. Why is this person want to overtake me? No, you don't do that. And then you have the road shoulders, the yellow line and the white line. So you'll find the yellow line and the white line when the traffic is on the road with traffic going in the same direction, like here. The traffic is going the same direction, then you have the yellow line and you have the white line the other side. But you'll get the yellow line here and the yellow line there when traffic is moving in opposite direction. Okay, straightforward. Let's now read. They say you may not, this is where I'm reading now. This is where I'm reading here. You may not drive on the shoulder of the road to the left of the yellow edge line or to the right of the white edge line. You may not drive there, but there are exceptions. Exceptions, you may drive to the left of the yellow edge line to allow another vehicle to overtake. So you may drive only if you want to allow another vehicle to overtake you. If it is a single lane roadway, it's in between sunrise and sunset, it won't endanger any road users or property, and you can see any persons or vehicles for at least 150 meters ahead. Okay, now moving on to dedicated public transport lanes. Do not drive in the lane dedicated for public transport or rapid transport vehicles from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Monday to Friday, except on public holidays or unless you are driving the permitted class of vehicle. Okay? Straightforward. And then traffic lanes, you may not enter or cross a road or traffic lane if you are traveling. If your vehicle, I don't know where I'm getting the traveling. If your vehicle is likely to cause dangerous situation or obstruct traffic flow. So you do not enter when you know or when you see that, hey, I'll cause I'll cause obstruction, or I'll put other vehicles on danger. You do not enter a traffic lane. You do not cross into a different lane unless you can do so without obstructing or endangering other traffic. Then we get to traffic circles. You have a roundabout and you have a mini circle. So basically the rules are the same, but we can read here. At a roundabout, you must yield right of way to all traffic approaching from the right, unless there is a road sign or a traffic officer instructing otherwise. Straightforward. And then mini circle. At a mini circle, give way to any vehicle that will cross the yield line before you. Remember, we said this is the yield line. That is the yield line. So any vehicle that crosses that line first before you, it has a right of way. Then we get to hand signals. Driving signals, you must always indicate your intention to change direction, reduce speed, or to stop. Indicate clearly to be seen by other road users using indicators, stop lights, and hand signals. They are hand signals. I'm just going to leave this. You may pause the video so that you can just check these pictures. Okay, now we can move on to turning at an intersection. Do not turn unless you can do so without obstructing or endangering other traffic. Okay? Obey the yellow mandatory direction arrow markings. You can refer to my video on the road surface markings to understand these mandatory direction arrows. And then move in accordance with the white marking indicating mandatory direction arrows. These ones, they are called mandatory direction arrow ahead. They are telling you that where you are going, you will find the yellow ones of the same. Okay. And then moving to turning left. Before turning left, indicate in good time and keep as close as possible to the left side of the road. After turning, adjust your speed to merge safely into the flow of the traffic. So you don't indicate here and you are turning here. You indicate in good time, right? And then turning right. Before turning right, indicate in good time and keep as close as possible to the right side of the road. Before turning, you yield the right of way to oncoming traffic. This is your road. You are going to turn there maybe, and then obviously the road is divided like this. Okay, so you want to turn here, so you keep as far right as possible so that you allow this person to overtake you this side. Okay, and then the rule says you yield the right of way to traffic approaching. So you let these cars pass, and then when it's clear, then you can turn. Okay, let's move on. They're now saying before starting turning into a two-way road, cross the center lines so that you turn into the left side of the road. Straightforward. And the last point is, as you turn, pass left of any traffic island or traffic officer controlling the intersection. Right. Then we get to parking. The rules with regards to parking. Always park within a demarcated bay and never on a sidewalk. You don't park on the sidewalk. You only park on a demarcated bay. So refer to my to the video again, the road surface markings. Okay, If illegally parked, a fine will be issued or the vehicle can be impounded. So if we find you and you have illegally parked your vehicle, you will be fined. And then emergency, rescue, and construction vehicles or traffic officers are not subject to these rules if they are being used on duty. Okay, straightforward. You may park on the right side of a one-way road provided the outer edges of the right side wheels are not more than 450 millimeters into the roadway. And then you have the parking distances guide. No stopping in or on or closer. You do not park. This is where I am now, starting here, 9 meters from a pedestrian crossing. Don't park in or closer or on 9 meters from pedestrian crossing. Do not park 6 meters from a tunnel, subway, bridge, or constricted road. Okay, right. Moving right along. No parking closer than 5 meters from an intersection, 1.5 meters from a fire hydrant, and 1 meter from the road edge outside an urban area, unless in a demarcated parking bay. Okay, and then there are other no parking places. Okay, you do not park in any no stopping area. So where you are not allowed to stop, you are also not allowed to park. You cannot park in parking bay reserved for exclusive vehicles. Where you would obscure a road sign on a pavement or sidewalk, you don't park. You don't park across a private or public vehicle entrance. You don't park over the actuating mechanism of a traffic light, and you do not park within the outer edges of the curbside wheel more than 450 millimeters into the roadway. You do not park in an urban road that is less than 5.5 meters wide. You do not park on a traffic island or pedestrian mall lane. That's it. Then moving on to, these are exclusive vehicles. So this is what rule number 2 said there, Guti. You cannot park in a parking that is reserved for exclusive vehicles. These are exclusive. Okay. Moving on to stopping on a road. You may not stop on the road unless instructed to do so by a traffic officer or road sign, or to avoid an accident. Okay? Then there are other no stopping places, such as next to or opposite an excavation if this obstruct traffic flow. You do not park in a tunnel, subway, or bridge. You do not park on the right side of the road facing oncoming traffic. You do not park next to or opposite another vehicle where the road is 9 meters wide. You do not park within a railway reserve or a level crossing. Do not park where you would cause an obstruction or danger to traffic. You do not park on a painted island. Do not park on a freeway. Do not stop. Everything here, it's a no stopping. I don't know why I'm saying parking. But also, where you are not allowed to stop, you're also not allowed to park. And then you have compulsory stops. It's compulsory for you to stop if you are directed to do so by a traffic officer, road sign, traffic light, or someone herding animals. I see here the road farm animals, but a farm animal cannot just stand on the road and say stop. So obviously there is someone who will be herding animals, who would ask you and say, please, may you please stop so I can let my animals pass. You see? And then you do not, it's compulsory for you to stop for pedestrians on or entering a pedestrian crossing on your side. And it's compulsory for you to stop if you are involved in an accident. And then pedestrians right of way at a pedestrian crossing. Important to note that when a pedestrian crossing is situated next to a traffic light, they must cross according to the signal on the traffic light. Okay, they cross according to the signal on the traffic light. They don't say there's a pedestrian crossing, so I'm just crossing. No. Drivers must yield right of way by slowing down or stopping for pedestrians or pedestrian who is on or entering a pedestrian crossing on your side. Do not overtake a vehicle that has stopped at a pedestrian crossing. We had covered that also. Pedestrians do not have the right to enter a pedestrian crossing suddenly so that an approaching vehicle has to stop suddenly and unsafely. So pedestrians, they don't just enter the pedestrian crossing. No. And then pedestrians should cross the road at crossings only at a distance of more than 50 meters from the crossing. 50 meters from the crossing. Okay? Right. And then the rules with regards to towing. The rules with regards to towing. Towing your vehicle or towing another vehicle. The distance between the two vehicles may not exceed 3.5 meters. 3.5 meters, okay? If it is more than 1.8 meters, there must be a clearly visible red flag tied to it. A licensed driver must control the towed vehicle unless a controlled towing device tows the vehicle. So someone who should control the car which is being towed should be someone with a driver's license. Okay. And then the towed vehicle must have efficient brakes unless towed by a drawbar or tow bar. When towing, the maximum speed is 30 kilometers per hour unless you are towing by means of a solid bar. You may not carry passengers in the towed vehicle. Towing on a freeway without a solid bar is unlawful if the freeway has a minimum speed of 30 kilometers. So that means when you are towing a vehicle on the freeway, you must always have a solid bar. You must always have a solid bar when you are towing the vehicle on a freeway. And then light motor vehicles and heavy motor vehicles light. When using any light or heavy motor vehicle on a public road, all lamps must be undamaged, unobscured, properly secured, and capable of being lit at all times. Okay? Right. Point number 1. The headlamps, rear lamps, and number plate lamps must be kept lit. It's lit here. Must be kept lit during the day. During the period. Sorry, not during the day. Must be kept lit during the period between sunset and sunrise. Sunset and sunrise, they mean night condition. Between sunset and sunrise, during night condition. All right. At any other time, when due to insufficient light or unfavorable weather conditions, persons and vehicles upon the road are not clearly visible or discernible at a distance of 150 meters. If you cannot see 150 meters ahead of you, then you must turn on your lights, especially if maybe it's rainy or it's snowy and all of that. Then, provided that these provisions shall not apply to a motor vehicle which is parked, you should not turn on your lights if you are parked well off the roadway of a public road. So if you are parked well, you do not have to do that. In a parking place demarcated by appropriate road traffic sign, you do not have to turn on your lights. within a distance of 12 meters from a lit street lamp. Lit street lamp. If you are within 12 meters of a lit street lamp, you should not do that. And then you have the main beams, of which they say it's bright lights. So bright wakho must emit a white light, enabling the driver to see any person or vehicle or object of a distance of at least 100 meters. So your bright lights should illuminate the road for at least 100 meters ahead. Remember to turn off the bright light if there is oncoming vehicle approaching or following another vehicle. Okay. And then you have dipped beams. Dipped beams must emit a white light, enabling the driver to see any person or vehicle or object of a distance of at least 45 meters. So when you dip your light, you should see at least 45 meters ahead. 45 meters ahead. Okay. And then parking lamps. A vehicle may not be driven on a public road with only the parking lamps lit while such vehicle is in motion. Then you have the rear lamps. You may not drive or ride any vehicle on a public road without a rear lamp emitting a red light fitted. Okay. Then stop lamps or brake light. You may not drive a light motor vehicle or motorcycle on a public road unless it is fitted with stop lamps at the rear. When in use, they must emit a red light which will be greater than that of light emitted by a rear lamp and must be visible in normal sunlight. At a distance of 30 meters to a person of normal eyesight. Okay, you can understand that. And then you have the number plate lamp. You may not drive a motor vehicle on a public road unless it is fitted with at least one number plate lamp at the rear, illuminating the number plate. Every letter and figure of such plate must be visible at a distance of 20 meters. The number plate lamp, we're talking of 20 meters by a person of normal eyesight. Okay. These you have to remember for your test. And then you have the fog lamps, front fog lamps and the rear fog lamps. No vehicle may be driven on a public road while any fog lamp fitted to such vehicle is lit, except in conditions of poor visibility caused by snow, fog, mist, dust or smoke. Then you have stop lamp. A motor vehicle may not be used on a public road if it is fitted with a spot lamp which can be adjusted as to enable a beam of light to emit from it and be deflected in any direction. Motorcycle lights, I am going to pass that one. We're not doing motorcycles today. And what is not allowed on the freeway, we have covered this one. But we can just read through. Animal drawn vehicles, bicycles, motorcycles with engine capacity of 50cc or less, electrically powered motorcycles with a mass of 230 kgs or less, for example, used by people with disability, motor tricycles or quad bikes, tractors unless they are used for road work. Pedestrians are not allowed on freeways unless they are in an area demarcated for stopping or parking. Animals are not allowed on a freeway unless inside a vehicle or within an area demarcated for stopping or parking. Okay. You cannot stop on a freeway except when you are instructed to do so by a traffic officer or road sign, or unless in an area demarcated for stopping or parking. And the last point under that should be unless the situation is beyond your control. Okay. Then important, hand signals may not be used on the freeway. You may use them only in an emergency. These restrictions, though, do not apply to maintenance, construction workers, emergency crew, and officials on duty. And the good thing is that a learner driver may drive on a freeway only if a licensed driver accompanies them. Okay. Vehicles causing vehicles causing excessive noise. You may not operate a motor vehicle that is too noisy or that has accessories that are too noisy. Use of hooter. No person shall use the hooter of a vehicle except when such use is necessary on the grounds of safety. K. You may not use a light motor vehicle on a public road unless it is equipped with a warning device, hooter, which is in good working order. When used, capable of emitting a sound which is clearly audible by a person of normal hearing from a distance of 90 meters. Okay. And then sirens or warning device that play a tune may not be used in private vehicles. Okay. And then the last point here is you may not hinder or interrupt the free flow of traffic on a public road. Okay, and then the general duties of driver and passengers. The driver must be seated to maintain. Sorry, guys. Yeah. The driver must be seated to maintain control of the vehicle and have a clear view of the road ahead. Then, as a driver, you may not travel backwards further than it's necessary. You may not follow another vehicle too closely. You may not allow another person or animal to interfere with your control of the vehicle. You may not allow another person to steer. You may not leave the vehicle unattended without setting the parking brake or using alternative methods to prevent the vehicle from moving. You see? And then you may not allow any portion of your passenger's body stick out of the vehicle except for hand signals. You may not run the engine if it is giving off excessive smoke or fumes. You may not run the engine while fuel is being pumped or if the fuel tank is off. You may not leave the engine running if the vehicle is unattended. You may not deposit fuel, grease, oil, or any other flammable matter or refuse onto or alongside of the road. You may not allow passengers to get on or off while the vehicle is moving. You may not drive, pull, or push a vehicle onto a pavement. And you may not fail to give way to emergency vehicles. You may not operate a communication device, cell phone, or two-way radio. You must use a hands-free kit or headset. Okay? And then there are abandoned vehicles. Vehicles abandoned on a public road or in a public place may be removed and impounded. The owner is liable for all the costs. The vehicle may not be sold to settle these costs. Okay. And then abandoned vehicles include the following. Vehicles obstructing other traffic or standing in a way to cause potential danger. When a vehicle is left more than 24 hours in the same place on a non-urban public road. When it's left more than 7 days on a public urban road or testing station. When it is found on a public road without a number plate or false number plate. when it is found without any means of identifying the owner, when it is parked on a no stopping or no parking area. And then damage to the public road. You may not drag or spin wheels of a vehicle on the surface of the road. You may not use shocks or shoes between the wheels and the road. And then you have the tires, the rules with regards to your tires. The tread pattern must be clearly visible and have a depth of not less than 1 millimeter across the entire width and circumference. Motorcycles under CC must have a tread pattern visible at least 80% of the tread width. Whatever motorcycles, we don't care. Side walls must not have deep cuts and inner cords should not be visible. The tire should not be on such a state of despair or condition that may cause damage to the road or be a danger. Okay? Then I'm passing the motorcycle rule and then I'm reading the last one. Buses and taxis operating with a license issued by the Department of Traffic must be fitted with commercial steel radial ply tires and steerable wheels must be fitted with anti-burst stabilizer devices. Okay. And then we have the rules with regards to seat belts. Seat belts are compulsory to wear when in a moving vehicle. A child is defined as a person between the ages of 3 and 14 years, except when such person is taller than 1.5 meters, then he or she is regarded as an adult. Irrespective of age, a person older than 14 years is defined as an adult. A person older than 14 years is defined as an adult. You may not ride a motorcycle or be a passenger on a motorcycle or in a sidecar attached to a motorcycle on a public road unless a project or whatever. And I'm passing the convoys for motorcycles also. And then animals on public road. Animals that are not under the control of someone are not allowed on public roads or in a place they may stray into the public. The people controlling animals on the road must have or must carry a warning at least 150 meters ahead of the 150 meters ahead of and beyond the herd. So from sunset to sunrise, they must carry a red light. Sunrise to sunset, they must carry 300 millimeters square red flag. 300 millimeter square red flag. Okay. If there are less than 10 animals, only one light or flag is required. Okay. Moving on to emergency triangles. At least one double-sided reflective triangle, SABS approved, must be carried at all times. If the vehicle is broken down or stationary on a public road, the triangle must be displayed at least 45 meters from the rear of the vehicle. And then unauthorized use of a vehicle. No one may drive, occupy, or tamper with a vehicle without the owner's permission. Don't touch my car without my permission. It is illegal to change a vehicle's engine or chassis number without prior written consent of the registering authority. Okay. And then pedestrians' legal rights. If a vehicle collides with a pedestrian, the driver will be prosecuted, irrespective of who had right of way. Straightforward. Racing and sports. You may not conduct a race or sports meeting on a public road without the consent of the MEC or relevant local authority, or with a modified vehicle that does not meet the specification of the manufacturer or SABS. Right, and then additional rules. This one's for motorcycles, I'm passing it. This one is for motorcycles carrying loads, I'm passing it. And then carrying loads on motor vehicles. This is where I am starting. All right. No part of a load may touch the road surface. Right. The load must be securely fastened or be inside the vehicle without hindering the driver's control of view of the road. Now, loads may not exceed 300 millimeters beyond the front of 1 and 1.8 meters beyond the rear. Okay. And then 4.3 meters high from the ground on goods vehicles, 2.5 meters wide, 2.6 meters wide, 2.6 meters for goods vehicles, 12,000 kgs or more. Abnormal loads require permission from traffic authorities. And then any fitted brackets, which is 150 millimeters beyond the vehicle's widest part. Okay. And then let's go down to safety markings. Loads that project 150 millimeters or more to the side of the vehicle must be marked with daytime 300 millimeter square red flag attached to each corner, front and rear of the load. Night, then you must have white reflectors on each corner of, on front, and red reflectors at each corner at the rear, and yellow reflectors on the sides. Loads less than 600 millimeters wide that project 300 millimeters or more beyond the rear of the vehicle must be marked with daytime a single 300 millimeter square red flag attached to the rear of the load, and at night white one red reflector at the rear of the load. And then now we're getting to the last part on the rules of the road: accidents. Okay. In the event of an accident involving a vehicle, person, animal, or property, stop the vehicle immediately, check for the injuries, provide any assistance where possible to the injured, provide your name, address, and provide your name, address, and address of the vehicle owner and vehicle registration number, and then report the accident to the police within 24 hours. Within 24 hours. And then in the events of someone being killed during the accidents, you call the emergency services immediately. You ensure that all vehicles involved are not moved without a traffic officer's authorization, unless the vehicles are blocking the road and standing in a way to cause potential danger. Only after their position have been marked on the road's surface. Okay. And then we have reckless, negligence, or inconsiderate driving. You may not drive in a manner that disregard the safety of the other road users or property. Intoxicating liquor and nicotine drugs. No person shall drive a motor vehicle on a public road while the concentration of alcohol in person's body is 0.05 grams per 100 milliliters of blood or more. 0.02 grams per 100 milliliters of blood or more in case of a professional driver. Yes, we are done with the rules of the road. Thank you so much for staying with me. Please comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much.